I believe in love. I really do, but it's movies like the movie we are going to talk about today that make me want to have nothing to do with stories of love. Hi everybody. Welcome to an all new Talkin Movies. I'm your host, the real Geno Reynolds, and today we're going to be talking about After. Many will compare this movie in a way with the fact that it began as fanfic. They're going to compare it to 50 Shades in a way, and in some ways it is, and thankfully some ways it isn't. It's like a YA version of 50 Shades. Don't worry, granted, I only know about this story. Apparently, there is a couple other books out there, or supposed to be a couple other books. I really don't care. But as far as I know, there's no bondage and the such, and beatings and things. What this movie is about. It's about a young woman who just gets out of high school and she's going off to college. And she meets this mysterious tattooed boy at a party, and she falls in love with him because he's a bad boy who reads, or at least supposed bad boy who reads books that she likes. So, there will be spoilers in this review. And, boy, where do I even begin? So the characters in this movie, they're either one-dimensional, or if they have dimensions, the dimensions are just tired cliches and just not interesting at all to watch, even though they try really hard to get you to care for them. But here's how the movie starts out. This girl's going to college, and her mom, and what they try to tease is her brother is dropping her off. But all of a sudden, after they drop her off and meet her new roommate, who's, tattoo girl, who has her girlfriend in a room with her at the time, and mommy starts to make a scene because mommy thinks they're going to be a bad influence. Well, it turns out that the boy isn't her brother, it's her boyfriend. And he's still in high school. I guess he's a senior. And she's going off to college. And mommy's a little overprotective. And that ends up making boyfriend a little overprotective because, while at first she resists going to parties and stuff, she finally goes to a party with her friend or a roommate. I guess they're friends. We'll call them friends. I guess you can call them friends. They say they're friends. She goes to the party and she calls her boyfriend calls one or the other, and boyfriend's like, "You're at a party? Why, that's not a good idea. I'm overprotective and I'm disappointed in you," yada, yada, yada. So she hangs up on him. He starts texting her, like an overjealous, worrying boyfriend would, cause they make, they're great for relationships, right? And he keeps texting her, "I'm disappointed in you. You're letting us down." And so, yeah, good guy. But anyway, at this party, she meets this boy, and they start playing Truth or Dare, because why not? We need more movies with Truth or Dare in them, don't we? They start playing Truth or Dare, and okay, I have to say this. There's this girl in there that's hanging out with this boy that the main girl ends up getting interested in. And she's going to be a problem. And you also know that they what the plan is, or at least have an idea, because they make sure you know that this other girl is filming everything with her phone. And of course, yeah, in this day and age, you could probably say, well, everybody does that. Well, they make sure you know. They keep showing her, holding up the phone. She's recording. So you know that's going to be a thing later. And I had this hunch of what this fanfic turn book turn movie was going to do. And I'll reveal that in a bit. So, anyway, the guy keeps trying to hit on the girl, and then he's saying, I want to be friends, and then, he takes her to his special place, because, the best thing you can do when you barely know somebody is get in a car with them, drive out in the middle of nowhere to their favorite spot, and then go swimming with them. And then, though you do have a boyfriend, you start, making out with him in the water, and then he starts to touch you, but you've never been touched. And then he stops. They're trying to make it seem like he has morals, right? So, this goes on, and also she meets a friend in a class. She makes a friend in a class, and this friend ends up being the future stepbrother of this new guy, and he's got issues. He's got problems. Be careful. So, he warns our heroine. And then she gets a call from her friend saying, don't worry, I'm skipping some things because it's hard for me to remember everything that happened because I was so disinterested in about 5 minutes into this movie. The troubled boy ends up having a bad night, and her friend from class calls her to come over. But this actually happens when her boyfriend comes to town and he's spending the night with her. And they've never done anything, by the way. That has to be established, that they've never done anything sexually. So he's spending the night. He comes to see her, and she leaves him in the middle of the night from her dorm to go check on this troubled boy, this troubled college student who she's interested in. Well, she goes and checks on him, and he's drinking and, talking about how things are bad and all this. And he does have a backstory. Eventually it gets out, but, she stays with him that night. They don't do anything. They I think they made out a little bit, but they didn't have sex or anything. But she leaves in the morning, and she has like a ton of calls from her boyfriend leaving messages. I'm sure they say, where are you? I don't know where you are. I'm disappointed in you. Where did you go? I'm sure he seems that kind of whiny. So she shows up, and he's outside. He's like, where have you been? And then troubled boy followed her home. He's like, oh, that's what's happening. And he leaves, and they break up, technically. So, she's of course our hero, by the way. And let's see, what else happened? I'm trying to remember because, again, this movie was just dull and cliche and boring. Well, anyway, they get to know each other here and there, but it seems like her or his friends are trying to keep them apart. And just throughout, he's trying to... He's always kind of pushing her away when the friends are around and everything, but they still somehow, I guess, fall in love. But then, and this is where the filming comes in, it turns out that the friends start messing with her, saying, did he tell you? Didn't he tell you? What about, didn't he tell you? What did he tell me? Well, I don't know. We find out. Of course we're going to find out. It had something to do with the filming. It turns out that at the party where they were playing Truth or Dare, and she kind of turned him down, that The girl filmed our tattooed trouble boy saying that, oh, you don't think I could get her? Just watch. I'll get her. I'll make her fall in love with me, and then, then I'll just drop it, right? So, of course, my hunch was that they were borrowing... I can't believe this. They were borrowing from Carrie 2. Where... at the point where this stuff comes to revelation, the two have had sex. They finally had sex. She said, "I want you." They had sex, and apparently they're in love. And she sees this recording and him saying this, so of course she's gonna run home to mommy because mommy said, because mommy caught him making out earlier in the film. I know I'm skipping all around, but again, I don't care. Mommy had caught him making out, and she's like, "You're cut off if you stay with this boy. You're gonna go home and you're gonna get back together with your whiny boyfriend." So she runs home to mommy. And this is how I knew the movie was going to end, because what happens at home is going to tell me what's going to happen at the end. At least I thought. Because you're wondering how the movie's going to end. Either, I'm guessing either they're going to get together in the end, or one of them's going to die. Because it is called After. So they want you to think he's going to die. At least that's what I got out of it. But she goes home and apologizes to mommy, but I don't want to talk about what happened. And then she goes and talks to her ex-boyfriend, who all of a sudden is like, that's why we get out. That's why, we got to learn about ourselves. So I guess it's okay. Things are fine. It's okay. You know who you are now. We're okay. We're best friends. Because I guess apparently they were friends. They were like best friends. And they just all of a sudden got together again. They were teasing at the first that he was the brother, but he's not. But they're best friends turned high school sweethearts. But he's like, I'm so understanding and everything's okay. I was kind of hoping he'd be like, I'm seeing this girl now, That would have been at least somewhat, poetic justice. But he was a little too understanding, if you ask me. But I guess they're friends before, so I guess they can forgive each other, I guess. So it made me wonder if, this is going to be one of those, she has to learn a lesson after after this, tattooed trouble boy who loves books. I thought he was going to die. But she goes back, and in the end, things work out. He writes a paper for a class, and it ends up being about her, and she reads it, and she goes to his favorite place that he took her to, in the middle of the woods at the lake where they went swimming. And he shows up, and he sits down. I guess all's forgiven. Aw, they're in love. And that's the movie in a nutshell. I mean, I know I missed some things, but, you knew that this guy's got a dark past. I mean, I halfway expect him to say I'm 50 Shades of effed up, because that's what it felt like. He said something along the lines, I guess I messed up, and she's like, I guess we're both messed up. What is it with this felt like if you mixed 50 Shades. In a way, it feels more like a Nicholas Sparks movie. And I know it's not Nicholas Sparks, it's Anna Todd. Which, okay. I guess, like I said, apparently it was fanfic and it turned into a novel. So that it went the 50 Shades route. I don't know if it was a fanfic of something other like 50 Shades was, which was a fanfiction of Twilight first. But the characters in this movie made me want to claw my eyes out. Don't get me wrong. Main girl, she's cute. The guy, he's a cute dude. He's got tattoos. He's troubled and he reads books. And I know they try to give him this dark backstory where about his dad, and his dad was a drunk overseas, and there is this dark backstory where his dad was out getting drunk and he pissed off the wrong people, and these people went to go look for dad, but dad wasn't home, but mom was there, and they insinuate that she was either beaten and or raped, and he tried to stop him. He was 8 and couldn't stop him. And look, in the context of a good movie, a backstory like that would have worked, but in a movie devoid of any real emotion, it just kind of, look, that stuff, assault, rape, ain't funny, okay? It's not funny. But in the context of this movie, I had to try to not laugh in the middle of the theater, and I'm holding my mouth, trying not to laugh. There was maybe 4 or 5 other people in there. I know there were some people over in the corner, and there was 2 people sitting in front of me, and I'm sitting there in the back of the theater trying not to lose it. Trying not to laugh. Because this movie is so just stupid. All the characters, the performances in this were flat. I mean, and it had Selma Blair in it, and I love Selma Blair. I do. And I know all the stuff she's been going through and everything lately. I felt bad for her that she's in this. Most of the other people you don't know. Peter Gallagher's in it. He plays the dad who used to be a drunk, and now he's getting remarried, and of course, tattooed trouble boy that reads books. Hates his dad because his dad's moved on, and his mom is living in squalor overseas. And like I said, a story like that, like that's in this movie, would have worked in a good movie. But this movie is garbage. Jennifer Beals is in this for a bit. I mean, there's a few people you might know, but most of the main characters are people you don't know, and they're not good. There's not much more I can say about this movie. Just, there's so many better love stories out there. This stuff, I thought it was done. I thought when we finally didn't get a Nicholas Sparks movie in the last year or so, I thought we were finally done with this garbage. And I know some audiences were liking it. You want to care about characters in a movie. And I just could not, even with stories, like when you finally hear the backstory, you don't care. By the time you get to that point in the movie, you don't care. And it's always hard for me to root for a main character that is not in a bad relationship but cheats. And I know I'm on record as saying I like The Notebook. I do. It's been a long time since I watched it. I don't really know how well it's aged. But maybe it's just because I like the people in it. But stories like that, I mean, the Nicholas Sparks-esque type stories like this, there's nothing, I mean, you could make a story like this work. I mean, if the character cheats, and they're in a bad relationship, like they're getting beat or something like that, I'm going to be a little more forgiving than just, I met this boy and he's mysterious and likes books I like, and granted the boyfriend she's with's a tool anyway, so there's that, I guess. I mean, he just seems like, it's like, how did you last that long? Because there was nothing else? I don't know. There's not much more I want to say about this movie other than I hadn't heard of it until a few weeks back. I mean, someone mentioned it on the low budget live stream on a Wednesday night. So have you heard of this? I'm like, I've never heard of it. It's not entertaining. Anytime it tries to be funny, it's not funny. The characters are stupid. They make dumb decisions just to move the plot along. You don't care about the hero's journey. You don't care about the boy's journey. It's just it's just not good. There's better romance movies out there. And again, it's movies like this that it's like, if this is love, then, well, I don't want to be in love anymore. I don't really know what else more to say than I feel bad for some of the actors that were in it because they are way better than this. And I'm not saying that given the right material, the newer actors in this couldn't be good. I don't know. I don't really recognize any of them except some of the well-known actors that played smaller parts. But, I mean, just this type of movie, I thought we were done, but we're not. And that saddens me. It hurts my heart that we're getting back into this. I really do hope that nobody sees this or sees this movie, and these movies can at least die for a while, like I thought they were going to after the last Nicholas Sparks movie. So, anyway, that's enough, I think. There's not much more I can say. This movie is terrible, and it's a contender for worst of the year for me, because the stuff that should have been emotional wasn't. The characters meant nothing to me, and this movie it tried. I will say it tried, but it didn't work for me. If it worked for you, I'm happy for you. But this movie, to me, is one of the worst of the year so far. Will it make the top 5 for the Opies? I don't know. But, boy, it's a contender as of right now. That's going to be all for this edition of Talkin Movies. If you like what you've heard here, please subscribe to the Real Geno YouTube channel, like this video, and if you have anything to say about After, even to defend it, I want to hear your opinion. Please feel free to leave a comment in the section below. Until next time, I am your host, the Real Geno Reynolds, and I'm hoping that next time I can believe in love. See you later.